John Fulton was born in January of 1981, the first of the four Wilkerson boys. He would soon be followed by Rich Jr., Graham, and Taylor. Robin began staying home to manage their ever-expanding ministry and raise the full house of boys.
I can remember being like 3, 4, maybe 5 years old at the max one summer where I was with my dad, and we were down in Texas, and he was speaking at this huge youth rally. And I can remember I was so scared and so afraid every time he would leave me with someone that I didn't know. He actually took me up on stage about halfway through his message, and for the rest of his message he preached with me on his shoulders to all these kids. And I'll never forget that, being up on my dad's shoulders looking out at all these thousands of kids.
As a young man, I mean, my mom used to ask me, what do you want to be when you grow up? I said, I want to be just like my dad. I mean, that's exactly what I used to say, because he was larger than life to me. I can remember watching him preach as a young man and just being, man, I want to be just like that when I grow up. He just had this way of communicating the gospel that broke down so many barriers for the person in the crowd. It was so funny. At the same time, he was so convicting. Just an all-around, just the greatest communicator I've ever heard.
Once again, God moved on Rich's heart to reach the young generation, and he enlarged his evangelism to include speaking in public high school assemblies to reach all young kids, not just the churched ones. Rich would go into a city and speak in the public schools about issues like real love and acceptance, and then invite all the kids to the church service that night or weekend.
Let's give a great big stadium welcome to Mr. Rich Wilkerson.
How y'all doing? I want to ask a question. Get down, Mama. I'm all right, man. All right.
It was an incredible way to reach kids who really knew nothing about Christ. From 1980 to 1990, Rich spoke in over 1,600 public high schools to more than 1.5 million students. Approximately 250,000 people made commitments to Christ during Rich's 17 years as an evangelist. After Rich Jr. was born in 1984, the Wilkersons built a home next to Robin's parents. From John Fulton's birth till he was a senior in high school, Rich was home from Thursday to Saturday, and then back on the road from Sunday to Wednesday.
My real only memory of living in Seattle is living next to my grandparents, and I remember my mom was home a little bit more than my dad.
My mom, there's no one like her. I mean, she really gave up everything, my mom. She gave up everything in order for us as a family to advance with this mission that we felt that my dad had been called to really bring the message of Jesus Christ all across the globe. And she would stay home and raise 4 boys all on her own. And there's no, in my life, my mom has always been such a pillar of a person who sacrificed so much because she believed in the calling, she believed in the mission.
She helped me learn speak good, take me to classes, eye tests, speech classes, all the stuff I need to do, and learn how to speak good.
I can remember growing up as a kid, anything that me and my brothers did, it was just huge, and they were always just making the biggest deal of it. I can actually remember my dad, he'd come home, he'd get off the plane, drive right to my Little League baseball game or my YMCA basketball league, and he'd come in, he'd come flying through the doors, "Joe! Come on, Joe! Kill him!" And like louder than anyone in the entire place. And I can remember the audience just going totally like, what is this? There was like 3 or 4 occasions where he actually, get this, was physically removed. He got kicked out of a few of my games.
You know, they kept a tight ship at their house, and we were a strong Pentecostal family. We were a strong church family. And one thing in my house that was not allowed is we were not allowed to dance. And I remember for my 13th birthday, somehow I convinced my mom, in a moment of weakness, I suppose, she allowed me to get a DJ under one condition, that it was a Christian DJ, which sounds cool and stuff, but all of a sudden, when we got the DJ there and all of a sudden he's playing praise and worship music out on the dance floor, it's kind of strange. And my first slow dance was to, Our God is an Awesome God. And that's kind of how my mom and dad kind of ran the place.
In 1996, Rich and Robin saw the need to plant churches in the very worst parts of the nation's largest cities. They founded Peacemakers.
America's inner cities have become a war zone. Conflict rages, abuse is rampant, and drugs flow to the highest bidder. Drive-by shootings, gang wars, and drug overdoses are the order of the day. America needs Peacemakers now.
Welcome to Peacemakers. My name is Rich Wilkerson. This is my wonderful wife, Robin, and we welcome you to the Peacemakers telecast from Trinity Church here in Miami, Florida, where we have the privilege of pastoring.
A ministry dedicated to reaching spiritual, physical, and emotional needs in the inner cities of America. Large tent crusades were scheduled with guest speakers and singers in all the big cities, and churches were planted upon the crusade's completion.
Dad! I know you're out there, Dad! This newspaper tells me you took 20 lives in this city yesterday. I know you're there, Dad. You don't have to fear death. You don't have to go to hell. Jesus already shed his blood so you could be forgiven and you could go to heaven. If you want to get right with God, if you want to be forgiven, you come right now as we sing it right now.
Coming up, Rich and Robin answer the call.
I like Florida more than Washington. Come on, babes.